I'm Kat.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, a tipsy night class teaching the oddities and curiosities you never learned in school.
Powered by thirst for knowledge and boxed wine, we cover the most fascinating lessons in history, science, true crime, pop culture, and the paranormal.
What are we drinking for this learning journey, Hayley?
I've got a little White Claw lined up, a little blackberry action.
Looking good.
Got a little brewski over there. Yeah, matching straw.
Yes.
Fashion.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I brought an orange one for the mango. So if you so choose, here, let me grab it for you.
Oh my gosh. And you've got oh, wow. See, this woman, she thinks of everything.
I know. I'm a true friend.
Wow. I'm amazed. And it all rooted from you being absolutely disgusted by straws and not being able to see what's in them.
Yeah, you have to buy, if you're going to buy reusable straws, which you should, you need to buy the ones you can see through. Otherwise, you have no way to know if they're gross inside.
Here's what I love about our friendship is that you've introduced me to so many little things that are like small luxuries of life, like fun straws. Yeah. I just reuse the ones that come with water bottles before now. But now I'm like, I can do this. I have no other examples, but other things.
But you know there are some.
I know there are at least two other things that I've been like, wow, treat myself. Thanks, Kat.
No, I love it too. And I normally also use, because you order straws for your hydro flask and they come in a pack of 2, and I've bought several of those over the years, and those are pretty good too because they are clear, so you can see if there's shit in them. But I'm a big fan of these plastic glittery see-through ones.
Yeah, they're way more fun. We were just talking about all the merch we're going to get made that is glittery and rhinestoned, and just be on the lookout for that in the next 1 to 5 years.
Right. It's not coming anytime soon, but we have a dreamscape about it where
relatively soon
glitter on everything
over the course of time in existence.
And time isn't real or linear, so maybe it's coming tomorrow. Maybe it came last week. We don't know.
Oh my gosh, Alex surprised us, and the whole reason he's having us do these dream vision boards is because he's already made our dreams come true, and he's just going to slowly help us realize it.
Oh my God. He just pulls up Libsyn and we have 1 million downloads suddenly. And I'm drinking, it's from the Abita Brewing Company, which I think is in Austin, Texas. And it is Louisiana, so not at all. And I'm thinking of Yazoo. But it's delicious.
Yazoo's Nashville.
Jesus Christ. Why? What is in Texas?
Are you thinking of Shiner?
Yeah. I think so. We've drank a lot of beer lately.
Lately? Like the past 2 years?
Shut up. Don't tell them. But it's an amber lager and it's a freaking delicious. So shout out to Abita Springs, Louisiana, apparently. I'm reading the bottle now.
There's a freaking joke on the tip of my tongue, but I can't figure out what it is. So tune back for Abita joke. That's all.
I beat him my dick so hard that beer came out.
Oh, dang. So you peed. And you have a penis. Okay.
I mean, you never know.
It worked. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, you've never seen. You don't know.
That's true. Okay. We just got done recording yesterday. By just got done, I mean 24 hours ago. Our first episode of List Bitches, our new Patreon show.
It was so fun.
It was so fun. I am trying not to get too ambitious because I'm like, 1 month is not enough. That was too fun. I want to do it like bi-weekly.
I know. It's that like syndrome of starting a new thing where then you just want to do it all the time.
Yeah, the dopamine. Yeah. I like how it makes my brain feel.
I like it too. And we had a ton of fun. So if you're interested in hearing List Bitches, there's going to be a new one every month on Patreon for our Learny Wormy tier and up. So check that out.
And can you describe what that is real quick?
We can. I was just about to do that. Sorry. So List Bitches, we've taken our favorite type of lesson, which is minimal work, but still made it into a lesson in a podcast. So we've chosen and elaborated on different lists that we find on the internet. You'll have to listen into the first episode to see exactly what it's like there on Patreon. But it's like Night Classy, but better. And we just read lists from the internet to each other, and riff on it.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. And I needed that fun because spring break has come to an end.
Not yet. We have a few more hours.
We do have a few more hours. It's 5:05 right now. So we have 7 more hours?
7 more good hours. The kids are always crazy when we come back from school from a break. It's just reteaching those routines and stuff.
Yeah. I had the most restful break of my life though. So I think I'm ready.
I think I'm almost ready too. I ignored all the calls that I got. I ignored all the text messages I got. I've been super antisocial.
Yeah.
And it's felt
I haven't
so good.
seen you.
I know.
But
That's on purpose.
Fair enough. I've also been antisocial. I've been spending literally every day at the barn. There were all these things I wanted to do over spring break, and then I just hung out with horses instead, and it was very peaceful.
I thought that's what you planned on doing over
Well, I
spring
planned
break.
on doing my taxes and some other things that aren't fun, and then I just thought, it's my break. I shouldn't have to do these things now.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to be a human on break.
No.
I shouldn't have to be an adult. I shouldn't
No.
have to act like life is real.
Life isn't real,
It's
and I don't
not.
care. What are they going to do to me if I don't do my taxes? Come get me.
Yeah, for all the money you have.
Right. Also, I don't understand why I have to do them because I'm going to get a refund. So shouldn't they be happy if I don't do them?
Yeah.
And they get to keep my money.
Yeah, I mean, I fully support you. I don't know if you saying all this on the podcast is enough for them to change the law.
Taxes are a scam. No, taxes are not a scam. Our current tax system is a scam. And you should not have to do your taxes. The
Yes.
government should tell you what you have to pay.
They already know. They
Right.
send you the
They
freaking
already
W-2 or
fucking
1099,
know.
whatever your tax form is.
Why do I have to put myself through this hellscape every single year?
And
Just
then
give me back my money or don't take it in the first place.
the pure anxiety that comes from doing taxes. And this is the healthcare system we have?
Yeah. I have to fucking log into TurboTax.
Don't use TurboTax. Intuit is a big scam.
Really?
Yes, I
Then
will.
what should I use?
freetaxusa.com.
I tried using that, and TurboTax makes it easier than that. Not gonna lie.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I'm going to do a lesson on this scam that
Okay.
TurboTax
Oh my
pulled.
God.
Please do.
Getting into how much we hate
is gonna break up
taxes.
with me.
Other people hate taxes too, Alec.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
relatable.
I know. Just the show at the always in the beginning, we somehow slip into car insurance and
Listen,
taxes.
I don't know what else
and
to talk
weather.
about.
It's
We're
my
boring.
podcast. I can talk about taxes if I want to.
That's right. Shut up, Alec.
I'm sorry. I'm over here. I'm just the cringing in the corner guy.
Are you ready?
I am. I blew a .026.
And I blew a .018.
Came in hot. So that means that I'm going first because I blew higher on the breathalyzer. Now, this lesson, this learning journey we're about to go on is dark. So for all you little dark angels who like the fucked up stuff, enjoy. But for those of you who are triggered by homicide and sexual assault and rape, please just skip the whole damn learning journey.
I was going to say that I've been excited for this because you told me it was dark, but now after that trigger warning, I feel like that's inappropriate.
Well, I think that I wrote it in a way that you will enjoy.
Okay.
You won't enjoy the facts of it, but I
Right.
think that you'll be enthralled.
I'm just
hope.
ready to feel sad and scared, I think is...
You're gonna feel sad.
Okay, good. I
You're
enjoy
gonna feel
that.
real sad.
Okay. I also have empathy and wish these things didn't happen.
Yes, exactly. Okay, but at least there will be resolve to all of this. Okay.
Okay.
So, May 1986, Cecile Bloch, 11 years old, she lived at home with her mom, dad, and older half-brother in an apartment in the 19th district of Paris. Cecile was an excellent student, and she had a promising possible career as a violinist. She played in a youth orchestra for several years and was going to transfer to a specialized conservatory school in the next year.
Same.
Yeah. What do they call horse girl school?
Listen, violinists are the horse girls of the orchestra, and I know because I was one.
I don't think so. I think it's definitely the flutes.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think the flute
But
energy is the
flute
same.
was banned for our middle school. It was like orchestra was just strings.
Yeah, orchestra's different. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But maybe it was viola. I think just maybe everyone who plays an instrument has horse girl energy.
Yeah, just a tinge of it. It's a good thing. I'd love
I'm
to
proud.
be as passionate as you are about horses.
You could be.
I feel that way about Safety, my cat.
There you go.
All right.
Imagine if Safety was huge and you could ride him.
Oh my God. He like wants to ride me, not in a weird way, but he's been so obsessive about me while we've been on spring break. I've been at home the whole time and he's obsessed with me. Like actually it's very cute, but also annoying. So anyway, Monday, May 6th, 1986 was a typical Monday for the Block family. Mom and Dad left the house at 8:10 a.m. and her brother Luke, who studied advanced biology, left 5 minutes later, which left Cecile home alone, and she left at 8:40 a.m. for school. She always came home for school because, it's fucking Europe. You get a break in the middle of the day, go home, eat your lunch. And Cecile's mom, Suzanne, routinely called home around noon to check in on Cecile while she was home for lunch. But that day, there was no answer, and there never would be. Suzanne called the school and learned Cecile never even arrived at school that day. So Mom and Dad rush home to find an empty apartment. Cecile's school bag was also gone. So they determined that she must have left their home, and they enlisted the help of the apartment security. She was seen that day in the elevator of the apartment building, but she never arrived at school. They searched the apartment building from top to bottom, with their last room in the third level of the basement. This room was kept dark, there was no light fixture, and they mostly just used it for storing random shit from the apartment building. And this is where Cecile's body was found under a piece of discarded carpet, her body marked with scratches and bruising. It became clear that she had been raped. She was stripped naked from her bottom half down, and there was semen found on top of her thigh. Cecile had been stabbed in her chest one time, and her ultimate cause of death was strangulation. There were no fingerprints to be found, so they assumed the killer had worn gloves. And the police also noticed that the elevator only went to the second basement, which meant that access to this third basement where she was found could only be achieved by taking the back staircase. It was clear that the killer took time to familiarize himself with the building and the surrounding neighborhood. And as family members and neighbors of Cecile looked back, there were a few red flags that gave the police their suspect. Multiple people believed they had actually seen the killer hanging out around the complex the day before Cecile died. Cecile's dad, Jean-Pierre, told people he had noticed the third basement access door had been propped open with a pack of cigarettes at the base of it, but he didn't think anything of it.
Right, who would?
Not me. I'd be like, oh, it's a maintenance person.
Working there.
Yeah. Jean-Pierre and other residents saw an unfamiliar man in the elevator that day. Jean-Pierre said that he saw, quote, a man who didn't live in the building and who didn't show any emotion or reaction at our presence. Cecile's half and older brother, Luke Richard, described the man they saw to have very textured skin, either from pockmarks or acne scars. He was 25 to 35 years old, about 6 feet tall with an athletic build, brown hair, and a jacket, sneakers, and jeans that were dusty like a backpacker's might be. Luke remembered feeling uneasy around the stranger in the elevator that day and noted that he was aggressively polite. Luke, in 2015, with an interview with a local newspaper, said that the man, quote, said something to me like, have a very, very good day.
Oh, God. That's horrible.
Yeah. It's something that just makes you look back and you get shivers.
Just creepy.
Yeah. So they developed a composite of this pockmarked man, and his whole identity was based around him having very textured skin on his face. And that was his name throughout the whole investigation and in the media, was the Pockmarked Man, or Le Grêle in French. You can see the composite is in my slides here. We'll also post these to Instagram.
Oh, he looks super young in that composite.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he looks like he's like 20.
Cecile's case was closed and opened and closed and opened several times to no avail. But Cecile's brother Luke never gave up. He was the one who had studied advanced biology when Cecile was murdered, and he eventually became a geneticist and pressed law enforcement to use DNA technology in her case.
Oh shit, that's badass.
Yeah, it is. And the first time DNA was ever used in forensics was the year that she died.
Wow.
So it was very new. DNA had just started being used in these crime investigations, and it would take years, but eventually, the semen they found on Cecile's thigh was submitted for DNA testing, and a profile was developed. This profile uncovered and linked other crimes committed by the Pockmarked Man before Cecile was killed. A month before Cecile's death, on April 7th, 1986, Sarah A., who was 8 years old, entered the elevator, and there was already a man in there who pressed the button to the first floor for her. But the elevator went all the way down to the 4th level basement.
Oh, God.
The man pushed her out of the elevator and pulled her onto a mattress as he started to attack Sarah. The man stuffed a rag in her mouth, raped her, and strangled her before he left her for dead. But Sarah had only lost consciousness. She didn't die. She survived this attack and woke up 15 minutes later and got help. And the police were able to gather DNA that would later link this crime to Cecile's killer, the Pockmarked Man.
Did they suspect that these were related before the DNA? Because it's like pretty much the same MO.
I'm not sure if they did or not at that time. They probably did, but they were at a complete loss for any lead.
Yeah.
So they're like, we think we have this like serial killer, serial attacker at the very least on our hands, but he had surely attempted to murder Sarah.
Right.
So almost a year goes by after Cecile's death and Sarah's attack when the Pockmarked Man is known for sure to have struck again. And this was all officially connected after the fact. So I don't know what they thought about the one that was a month apart, but all of this is like a while down the road. So on April 29th, 1987, the bodies of Giles, no, not Giles, it looks like Giles, but it's pronounced Gilles Politi, who's 38 years old, and Irmgard Mueller, who's 21 years old. She was Gilles' au pair. She was in France studying geography. They were found dead at the Rue Sainte-Croix de la Bretonnière. Boom.
Good job.
Thank you.
I'm impressed about, what is it, Gilles?
It's spelled Gilles.
I know. Every time I see
Gilles.
that name, I've always like in my head said Giles. So I'm glad I now know how to say it. What is it? Gilles?
Gilles.
Oh, Gilles.
There's okay. The S isn't, but yeah. So even the police were shocked by the brutal, just fucked up nature of their deaths. Gilles was found naked, lying on his stomach. His wrists and ankles were bound with his own belts and various strips of fabric.
I'm sorry. Belts?
Belts.
He was wearing multiple belts.
He wasn't wearing them, but he was bound with them. His hands.
Oh, because did they take him from his house?
Yeah, he was in his house. Yeah, It was in his own apartment. His wife came home and found them. And their daughter went to a friend's house after school because dad didn't pick them up because he had been murdered. So mom found them. He's all tied up with these belts and various strips of fabric from around the apartment. And these belts passed up to his neck, and they were held in place with a fireplace poker, which was fashioned like a Spanish tourniquet. So he had like taken this fabric, imagine like a piece of fabric around my arm, and he used the like fire poker to like twist it and like,
oh my God. And like cut off his circulation.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and one of them was around his neck. So he like
He
for
was
sure
strangled that way.
suffocated
Oh
slowly.
my God.
Yeah. Irmgard was in the couple's daughter's room, tied to the bunk bed, mostly nude. She had also been strangled with a tie from the bathrobe, and her throat had been cut. Both bodies were burned with cigarettes all over, and there were these shallow stabbings all over them too, indicating that they had been tortured. The DNA at the crime scene linked this crime scene to the same person who committed the crimes against Cecile and Sarah. The killer stole a camera from the apartment, and the Polaroid paper found at the scene suggested the killer could have photographed his crime. Law enforcement agents believed Irmgard could have known this man. Witnesses saw a man outside of her apartment the day of her death and the day before. This man with intense acne scars was seen having a heated discussion with Irmgard outside of her place. The next pockmarked man crime happened on October 27th, 1987. So a few months later. Oh, God, this one. 14-year-old Marianne came home from school during her lunch break. The pockmarked man followed her into the elevator and told her that he was a police officer. He asked to see her ID, and then he flashed the gun in his holster that he had underneath his jacket, and then demanded and insisted on seeing her arms, saying that he was investigating a drug trafficking and that he had to check her arms for track marks. The pockmarked man really was doing an investigation, but not official and not for the police. He asked Marianne questions about herself and about her mother and what their schedule is like. And that's how we found out that Marianne would be home alone at that time and forced her into her apartment and tied her up. The pockmarked man threatened her with a letter opener and asked her where they kept their valuables. He found the valuables. He took 2 cameras, a CD player, a VCR, and 14 CDs. So, I mean,
Good choice.
super valuable for the 1980s. But that wasn't enough for the pockmarked man. He did rape Marianne while she was tied up and attempted to wipe the semen off of her, which he did successfully, but he didn't realize that he got some on the bedding. So in 1997, a DNA profile was developed from it and again matched to the pockmarked man.
I love to imagine how scared these predators were when DNA testing became a thing. Like those that were doing what he was doing, like going around raping and leaving their semen, like they probably just shit
about it.
Like bricks. Yeah. Because I mean, who would think that someday that could be tested and then it could, like, I love to just like
I hope
imagine
that
how
it's the
scared they
same
were.
amount of fear, if not more fear that they had, that they made other people.
I mean, I
have.
can't imagine.
I can't imagine that either,
as
but
much, but
in a perfect world,
right? At least something. Like it's good. Like I just want them to like know what's coming for them before it does.
I do too. So the nightmare continued in 1994, several years later, this time outside of Paris. It began in Mitry Mori and ended in Saclay, which are 2 places that I don't know, but seemed important. Doesn't really matter too much to the story, but I thought I'd include it. An 11-year-old girl named Ingrid rode her bike home from playing with friends and decided to take a shortcut down a secluded dirt road. Always a bad idea. Never take a shortcut.
I mean, always take a shortcut.
You are risking it for what? For what biscuit?
What if the predator was on the main road? I feel like the shortcut. Leave the shortcut out of this. The shortcut has nothing to do with it.
I don't know. It just seemed really scary.
There's fewer people on the shortcut.
Yeah,
Less
but
chance
it is
to be attacked.
secluded. Well, that's not how it worked out this time.
Okay, this time.
The pockmarked man pulled his car in front of her and blocked the secluded path. So I don't know. You got to weigh your options. Do you want to go on the main road and have to be around a bunch of people, or do you want to go down the short path, secluded dirt road and chance this?
The same thing could have happened on the main path. I'm not here for the shortcut slander.
Okay.
I don't think it had anything to do with it.
I'm just a scaredy cat. The man quickly flashed a law enforcement ID badge and told her that she wasn't supposed to be down this path and asked to see her identification documents, which she didn't have because she was 11 years old.
The fake cop, right. The fake cop stuff, though, is really scary.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to question someone who says they're an officer.
Yeah.
Cops are fucking scary.
Yeah, they are. And like, yeah. It's
I
really
feel like
scary.
I have no actual like scientific proof. I'm sure it's out there, but I feel like the percentage of people who are law enforcement agents just have like a higher percent rate of being like a psychopath.
Like douchebags. There's a true stat that says like 40% of police officers are like commit domestic violence against their spouse.
There you go. Like, that's the fact I needed.
I feel like either you get into that job and it fucks you up, or you get into that job because you have like a creepy like power complex.
Yeah.
And
I totally, I mean, I see it. I remember reading, it was some Reddit post or something that I saw when George Floyd got murdered. And it was a guy who was like, I was in the force for like 10 years. I got out of it because these people were so fucked up. And I started seeing patterns in myself that I didn't like.
Yeah. Like, and it's scary because it's like, I mean, the good ones quit typically, you know, like who would want to work with all those like violent douchebags?
Yeah.
And it just gets worse and worse.
I surely would not question anyone, though, if they're like, where's your documentation?
Oh, me too. That's
officer.
why it's so scary. And like, if they have a fake badge and it looks good, like, you would do whatever they say. And that's so awful.
Yeah, that's exactly what this 11-year-old girl did. The man told her that she'd have to go to the police station with him because she didn't have her documentation papers. So he handcuffed Ingrid and put her in the backseat of his car. She begged him to stop at her home so she could at least let her family know where she was going. But he refused and kept driving for 37 miles until they arrived at this abandoned farmhouse. The pockmarked man proceeded to rape Ingrid, but she spoke to him the entire time. She now believes this is what saved her own life. The pockmarked man wiped away his semen, but didn't dispose of the tissue before leaving Ingrid at the farmhouse, saying that he was going to go grab a bite to eat and that he would be back.
What did she say to him?
I couldn't figure out. I didn't see what exactly she said.
Yeah.
But I think that seems to be a proven tactic. You want to if anyone attacks you, you want to let them know as much as you can about yourself and people who love you. And it makes you more of like a real person.
Yeah, it humanizes you.
Yeah.
But like, how scary would it be? Like, that was a very strong 11-year-old girl, because I know I would probably shut down.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fight or flight. Freeze for me.
100%.
So he leaves. Obviously, she takes her chance to escape and does just that. She ran into a class going on nearby from a motorcycle school, and they accompanied her to the nearest police station. And from there, they went to the farmhouse and they swiftly collected all the evidence, and she was fine.
Did they like wait for him to come back? Did he come back like he said he was going to?
No, I don't think he ever planned to come back. He probably just wanted to scare her.
Yeah.
But he never came back. But I also thought it was weird that he didn't dispose of the tissue that had his semen on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that makes me think he was going to come back.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. But like, why not just take your little cum tissue with you?
He's like ill.
Same. Other crimes the pockmarked man is suspected of committing based on the circumstances surrounding them include, what they were able to do in 2015 law enforcement agents used software that analyzed the elements of these crimes committed that led to the pockmarked man being suspected of the murder of Corinne Leroy. Corinne disappeared while walking to school in 1994, which was 20 days before Ingrid, who we just talked about, was kidnapped. There was no DNA evidence to link Karina's death to the pockmarked man, but her body was found at the edge of a forest, bound in the same exact way as the rest of his victims. And she was also taken off of a main road.
There you go. Take the shortcut. Don't walk longer than you have to.
I don't think that the decisions of either of them has to do with it.
No.
Because,
no,
I know that's not what you're saying. But I think he's just a sneaky motherfucker.
Oh, for sure.
There was no struggle that anyone witnessed, and it would have easily been noticed
he was posing
right away.
as a fucking cop. That's
Exactly.
so unfair. I mean, obviously being a predator is never fair, but like I feel like that's just the cheapest fucking trick. It makes me so disgusted.
Me too. And that's exactly what he did, or what they suspected that he did. They're like, either Corinne knows this guy, or he did the same thing he did with Ingrid and said that he was a police officer. And of course, you're going to get into the car.
Right. And you're preying on children. Like an adult might question him on that, but a kid's not going to.
Yeah. Well, Corinne was she was 20 years old.
Oh.
She was in college. But I mean, still. Young women alone on the street. Bad scenario.
I mean, you can be a young woman alone on the street.
But when you add the predator,
it was a recipe for disaster.
Listen, I've got my learning journey lens on.
Hayley wants you all to stay inside until you're 35.
Way
you heard it here
after
first.
35. Just don't go outside. Don't leave your porch.
Never.
Don't
take the shortcut.
If you don't go anywhere, you don't have to take any cuts.
That's true. Never leave your house.
The pockmarked man is suspected of attempting other attacks. For example, on November 26, 1987, 4 young women between 14 and 19 years old were approached in their apartment buildings by a man with police identification who demanded to see their IDs. Each of these 4 women luckily got away from this guy by their own or with the help of a trusted adult, whether it be somebody who worked in the complex or one of their grown-ups. All 4 incidents happened one after another, 2 of them in the same exact apartment building.
Oh, so they weren't all together. He was just going up to any young woman.
Yeah, it was 4 different women.
Jeez.
And the reason why we can point to these incidents now is that the girls trusted their fucking instincts and immediately reported the interaction to the police.
Yeah.
All the girls and the adults who interacted with him identified him as the man in the official police composite. The adults also noted that despite his claims of being a police officer, he did not come across as someone with confidence, and he did not hold his composure, they said.
He kept saying please and have a great day.
And ew, girl. Please, will you show me your titties? But at the end of it, years and years went by without any leads on who the pockmarked man was. Things got quiet until September 2021. A woman in La Grande Motte on the southern coast of France reported her husband missing. She told officials that her husband, Francois Verove, told her that he was going to check on tenants at their vacation rental property. So off he went on his bicycle. But after he'd been longer than she expected him to be, she texted him and called him and texted him and called him, all of which were unreturned. So naturally, she became worried. She checked their rental portal online, and there were no new tenants. So his wife reports him missing.
Oh, shit. Is it him?
2 days later, law enforcement officers found Francois's body in the couple's rental property. Francois
I'm sorry.
Verreau.
She didn't check the rental property.
No, she didn't. I don't know why it took 2 days.
Right. That's the first number one place you go.
That's literally where he said he was going.
Right. When he's not answering his fucking phone, you get in your car and you drive to the rental property. I mean, I'm not trying to...
Things were different back in 2021.
Back 1 year ago.
Yeah, back 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was my half birthday 2 days ago.
Oh my God, happy half birthday.
Thank you.
Now you're pushing 25.
Hey, I still have 1.5 years left on my dad's insurance. I'm happy. At least I'm not pushing 26.
Shut up.
So they find his body in there 2 days later. And Francis Verreau was the pockmarked man final victim. Francois,
Oh no, I was so ready for it to be him.
well, the body was found with 2 letters. The first one said that his death was a suicide and that he did not want to be resuscitated if he failed to complete said suicide.
Was it really him or is
In
it
the
fake?
second one, Francois admitted to horrendous crimes and murders throughout his life. It was him after 35 years.
No, I wanted him to get caught by the first girl's brother so bad.
Well, he came very close. And
That's
I'll tell
frustrating.
you more. It's super frustrating. But I'll tell you more about it. Francois Verreau exposed himself as the pockmarked man. He blamed the crimes on impulses, of course, that stemmed from his childhood.
Oh my God, shut up.
Right. Like, go to therapy.
Right. Get a better childhood. I
Okay.
don't know. Just
Your
kidding.
dad is mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of people have a mean dad.
Yeah.
Try like half the population.
Better Help. Have you heard of it? It literally was 2021. He also claimed that his wife and children were the reason why he gained control over his impulses and stopped killing. Verreau said that he completed suicide to protect his family from knowing about his crimes that were about to become public. He also claimed to not have committed any crimes after 1997. But the last confirmed crime that they were able to link back to the pockmarked man happened in 1994.
So
it
there might be
seems
more.
That there are a lot of crimes that he committed we don't know about.
So awful. Imagine being his wife and kids.
Oh my God. I mean, they're going to need therapy. I hope they have the resources to take care of themselves.
Yeah, that is horrific.
Yeah. In his crimes, in his letter, he said they were about to become public. So after several years without any leads for the pockmarked man, investigators started to think that his reported claims of being a law enforcement agent might actually be true. They based that on how he tied up his victims that pointed to military training, as well as the vocabulary he used in his tactics. The proximity of the French military buildings to some of the pockmarked man's crimes also raised eyebrows. The pockmarked man also had to have known about forensics before the general population gained an understanding of forensics. Just based on how he cleaned up after himself, or tried to anyway, thankfully unsuccessfully in some cases, and how he wore gloves or wiped items down that would have or should have had his fingerprints on them. This suspicion led to an inside investigation for the pockmarked man within law enforcement. In 2021, 750 men who were working as law enforcement officers at the time of the pockmarked man's crimes were ordered to report for questioning and provide a DNA sample. Verreau served as a French police officer stationed at the cavalry of the Republican Guard between 1983 and 1988. He became a member of the police force after that until a motorcycle accident launched him into early retirement in 2014. Francis Verreau learned of this order to report for questioning and a DNA sample from his wife, who got a phone call because she used his old cell phone, which still had his old cell number attached to it. his wife, they were just out and about, and she's like, hey, I just got off the phone. You're supposed to report in this city 5 days from now and call them back to schedule this appointment. It's something in relation to a reopened investigation on the events, something that happened between like 86 and 92. His wife later said that there was no change in Rob's mood or behavior after the phone call. Everything was completely normal. And then he left home 3 days later and was found dead in that rental property on the day he was supposed to report for questioning.
Jeez.
And you can see the actual picture of him. He just looks like...
Ugh, I hate him.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
I love that they chose like the worst picture of him for this article.
I know, right?
Like that's the most unflattering picture I've ever seen.
And before it got cropped, this picture, he was like with a young child. So he had children, and I'm wondering if he was a grandfather at this point too. Because he's like 56.
He is horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you just...
Gives me shivers.
Yeah.
His wife said they had a harmonious marriage, and her husband had a very cool, calm manner about him, and he never got angry, which I think is a red flag, because you're allowed to get heated about things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a good thing to like lose your temper, though, which just sounds like what she's saying.
Yeah, I guess so. I just took it as like he knowing who he is in the lens of this learning journey is like he got angry but didn't show it. Yeah. Rob's neighbors were shocked to find out he was a pockmarked man, as they always knew him to be their helpful, normal neighbor.
Of fucking course.
If
you have
a sociopath,
a helpful, friendly neighbor who everyone likes,
don't
maybe
trust.
No.
And don't take the shortcut or the long cut. Just don't leave.
Just don't
talk to your neighbors. His coworkers said he was a good police officer and had a good sense of humor. But I say he's a cold-hearted sociopath. Fuck this guy. I hope his victims are happy and healing in whatever comes after this life, and that their families are hopefully healing or on their way after dealing with this trauma.
Yes.
That's what I've got. That's
Jeez, that was dark.
I told you.
Oh, God. All right.
I told you. Were you enthralled?
I was enthralled. It was fascinating, but you're right. Now I'm scared and sad.
Well, hopefully your learning journey will pick us right back on up.
It will.
All right. My sources were the Pockmarked Man serial killer identified after 35 years, solved in 2021 by heavy case files on YouTube, French ex-officer's DNA ends 35-year murder hunt on BBC, Francis Verove Wikipedia page, Pockmarked Man, the Le Grailly killings on True Crime Database, and France's decades-long hunt for the Pockmarked Man serial killer and rapist leads to police officer by Henry Samuel in The Independent.
Thank you for that learning journey. Let's hear from our sponsor. Bye.
Bye. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. As you all know, I love therapy. It has helped me so much, and I know that I'm not the only one, which also makes me think that maybe everyone could benefit from therapy, because without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is, though, therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now. Maybe you would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work, not dealing well with stress. There's a bunch of different reasons that people utilize therapists and therapy. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of these normal human struggles and start feeling better, because you deserve to be happy. Now, you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help, because BetterHelp has this custom online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. And it is much more affordable than in-person therapy. One thing I really like is that you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. So, but bam, like that, therapy. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. In special offer to Night Classy listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/classy. That's betterhelp.com/classy. Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast, and thank you all for checking it out. When you use that code classy at betterhelp.com, it helps the show. So I know we're all helping hands. Let's throw a hand in together and help each other, help yourself. Check out BetterHelp. Use that code classy. Bye.
We're rolling.
All right. Well, here we are.
Soft start. Jeez.
I know. Well, I wasn't sure if we'd started, and then Alec had pressed the button, and then I didn't know what to do. So I'm sorry.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. I have a palate cleanser for you.
Thank God.
This one's fun. So in May of 2005, the Kansas State Board of Education held a series of hearings meant to change the way human evolution is taught in schools.
I thought you were going to say how human evolution goes forth. It's like, man,
like they're like getting into eugenics.
Politicians. I mean, I didn't think about it like that, but I guess that's probably what it would be.
I mean, that would be controlling human evolution.
Okay, on to the palate cleanser.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I promise this gets better. Some on the Board of Education wanted creationism and intelligent design to be taught alongside evolution in public science classes. The Kansas Board of Education member, Kathy Martin, opened the hearing stating, quote, "Evolution has been proven false. Intelligent design is science-based and strong in facts."
Where?
So, airtight.
Where?
In her delusion, I don't know.
Bible.
I don't know. So these hearings gained national attention, and many worried that the measure would pass. One of those people was 24-year-old Bobby Henderson. Bobby was a physics graduate of Oregon State University and a fan of science. He was disturbed by what was happening in Kansas and came up with a creative plan to do something about it.
Like a man with a plan. Okay, this is good. I mean, I don't know. Is it good?
No, it is good.
Okay.
Yeah. We like Bobby.
I don't know who to trust anymore.
Bobby penned an open letter to the Kansas Board of Ed. He started the letter with this opening paragraph. Quote, and there's going to be a lot of me reading out loud to you, and I'm not great at reading out loud, but I'm going to do my best.
That's what we do. That's
I know, but
podcast.
it's different. It's different when you're reading your own writing. It's harder to read someone else's writing, but we're going to try.
That's fair. Okay.
Quote, I am writing to you with much concern after having read your hearing to decide whether the alternative theory of intelligent design should be taught along with the theory of evolution. I think we can all agree that it is important for students to hear multiple viewpoints so they can choose for themselves the theory that makes the most sense to them. I am concerned, however, that students will only hear one theory of intelligent design.
Fair concern.
He went on to state that him and many other people around the world believe the universe was created by the flying spaghetti monster, and that, quote, overwhelming scientific evidence points to his existence, and that's his with a capital H.
Okay, I have a few questions just immediately. Mm-hmm. I'm so hoping that this is one of those things where they like make up something to counteract what these like Bible thumpers are doing.
Yeah, it's satire.
Okay, thank God.
No, okay. Bobby actually has a physics degree. He's actually intelligent.
Okay. He didn't go to like Trump University for his physics degree.
He went to Oregon State, so not the best university.
We all know Washington State is the best.
No, Washington State is not the best. University of Washington is the best.
Oh.
Washington State University also sucks.
If you're a state university, no, just kidding. Very good.
Just kidding. You don't suck. You're just not the best. So no one has ever seen the flying spaghetti monster, but there are written accounts of it. The flying spaghetti monster built the world for us to think that it's older than it is. For example, every time a scientist carbon dates an object, The flying spaghetti monster comes in and changes the result with his noodly appendage to make it seem older.
Noodly appendage.
The letter goes on, quote, I'm sure you now realize how important it is that your students are taught this alternative theory. The theory of the flying spaghetti monster creation to be taught in schools, along with intelligent design and evolution.
Yes, it does, along with all the other explanations for how we got here.
Why not?
I just imagine people in a church who praise the spaghetti, what is it, the flying spaghetti monster? And they're like, on top of spaghetti, all covered with cheese.
I think you're onto something. I didn't see any hymns, but I'm sure they're out there, and that's probably number one.
Number one, for sure.
He also pointed out that it's disrespectful to teach this belief without wearing his chosen outfit, which is a pirate costume. So the spaghetti monster loves pirates. In the letter, it said, quote, you may be interested to know that global warming, earthquakes, hurricanes, and other natural disasters are a direct effect of the shrinking number of pirates since the 1800s.
Pirates make the world go round.
Right.
It's true. They keep things in order. That's what they do.
According to the spaghetti monster. So here you can look at my first slide. That's a graph that Bobby made, and it shows that as the number of pirates goes down, the average global temperature goes up, showing that global warming is directly caused by the number of pirates.
Things like this are scary because how many people latched on to this idea and were like, yes, it's all making sense. This is what I've been searching for.
It's like that thing that like correlation is not causation. So it's like a satire of people that really do like make shit like this and say, you know, it is scary.
You can do that with like the number of bicycle accidents per ice cream sales. More people do both in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like when people do this shit like with the actual intention of tricking people, it does become very dangerous, which is what Bobby is saying. The letter ends, quote, in conclusion, thank you for taking the time to hear our views and beliefs. I hope I was able to convey the importance of teaching this theory to your students. We will, of course, be able to train the teachers in this alternate theory. I am eagerly awaiting your response and hope dearly that no legal action will need to be taken. I think we can look forward to the time when these three theories are given equal time in our science classrooms across the country and eventually the world. 1/3 time for intelligent design, 1/3 time for flying spaghetti monsterism, Pastafarianism, and 1/3 time for logical conjecture based on overwhelming observable evidence. Sincerely yours, Bobby Henderson, concerned citizen.
Spaghetti-o. Bobby Henderson.
He says, P.S. I have included an artistic drawing of him creating a mountain, trees, and a midget. Remember, we are all his creatures. And I have this picture here. And I do want to say midget is probably not the best, most politically correct term to use.
Yep.
But that's what he said. And this is his diagram here.
We're all his creatures. I like it.
Can you describe it?
It's like a sketch with like a Bic pen on notebook paper. It's very crude. Bobby is not an artist.
This could have easily been taken from any junior high schoolers' notebooks in class.
Definitely. It's very, very crude. So,
and like what the spaghetti monster looks like.
It looks like a scribble with eyes.
There's two meatballs.
Yes.
I'm assuming they're meatballs.
I think they're right. They are meatballs. Before I go on, I do want to point out that the intention of Pastafarianism is not to make fun of religious people, but point out the inherent hypocrisy of organized religion and argue for the separation of church and state. And along with what we were saying when we looked at the picture, I also want to say that the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is not perfect. It arguably has some problematic elements, but I think their intentions are pure. They're just maybe not the most educated. And the church does do a lot more good than harm. So with that being said, let's move on.
The Pastafarianism?
Pastafarianism.
There's a church.
The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. And if you follow that belief, you're a Pastafarian.
Cool.
Or Pastafarian. I never actually looked up the pronunciation, so that'd be embarrassing if I'm not saying it right.
It's Pastafarian.
Pastafarian.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Bobby sent his satirical letter and he did not receive any response from the board. So he posted it online. And shocker, it immediately gained traction online. People loved it. It went viral. Board members even started sending him their responses, and most of them were positive. Just a few months after the letter went viral, a book publisher contacted Bobby and offered him $80,000 up front to write The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Oh, hell yeah.
In 2006, The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster was published. The Gospel is structured much like other religious texts, especially the Bible. It has a creation myth, description of holidays and beliefs, and their concept of the afterlife.
What are their holidays?
I will tell you. You thought I wasn't going to tell you? I'm going to tell you.
I need to know, because if you're watching this on YouTube right now and you see my face, just my jaw is dropped. I think I've found my religion.
You've never heard of the Flying Spaghetti Monster?
Not until today.
Well, you're in luck.
Had you before?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I didn't know much about it.
I thought it was withholding.
What?
I've been withholding information.
Yeah, I've been edging. I've been ready. So the creation myth states that 5,000 years ago, the universe was created by an invisible, flying spaghetti monster. On the first day, he separated water from the heavens. On the second day, he couldn't swim anymore and was tired of flying, so he created land.
Well, yeah, he'd been, you can only boil noodles so long. You don't want to get them past al dente.
Yeah, he was getting soggy. Maybe that's why the ocean is salted.
Yes, it has to be. And you know what? Oil is not good for the ocean, but maybe it's just, residual from a little olive
from the spaghetti.
Oil,
keep it from boiling over. A little oil in there.
Yeah, that's what all the wood washed up on the shores is. You put the wood spoon over the top of the pot and it doesn't go over.
Definitely.
This is all making sense.
I mean, it makes as much sense to me as anything else.
Same.
Yes.
Hard same.
So this flying spaghetti monster also created a beer volcano, and he drank from it until he was drunk and then woke up the next morning hungover and then created land and sea again because he was drunk and forgot he did it the day before.
Okay.
He also created heaven and the infamous quote-unquote midget, which he named Man. And Man and an equally short woman lived in the Olive Garden of Eden.
Yes, I was waiting for the Olive Garden appearance because, Olive Garden has to be divine.
Right.
It is. We
ordained.
knew that already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. You should have told me to wear my Olive Garden shirt to our recording.
I should have. I
Next
regret
time.
it. Oh, and then he caused a great flood during a cooking accident. He named his followers Pastafarians after his noodly goodness and established a set of guidelines that they must live by in order to get to heaven. Do you want to know why you want to go to heaven?
So you can eat all the pasta you want?
No, you don't eat pasta. That's your God.
Oh, what do you eat then?
You have access to the beer volcano.
Okay.
And there's a stripper factory.
A factory?
Yes.
For strippers?
For strippers. So
are they sentient?
That's what I said about, some of this isn't the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
Exactly.
No religion's perfect.
Every religion has controversy. So if you don't make it to heaven, you go to hell, and hell is basically the same as heaven, but the beer in the volcano is flat, and the strippers have STDs.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So nothing is perfect. To get these guidelines, so again, we are looking for how we get to heaven, because for some reason you might want to go. Mosey, the pirate captain, traveled up the Salsa Mountain where he was given the 10 I'd rather you didn't, an obvious parody of the 10 Commandments.
The we're not gonna do's.
Yeah, please don't. So Mosey accidentally dropped 2 of these on his way down from the mountain, leaving only 8 I'd rather you didn't, which is why Pastafarians have, quote, flimsy moral standards. The 8 I'd rather you didn't are pretty long, so I'm going to give you the spark notes.
Thank you. Feel like I'm back in high school.
Right. You're welcome. Number 1, I'd really rather you didn't act like a sanctimonious, holier-than-thou ass when describing my noodly goodness. If some people don't believe in me, it's okay. Number 2.
I believe in you.
Me too. Number 2, I'd really rather you didn't use my existence as a means to oppress, subjugate, punish, eviscerate, and or, be mean to others. Number 3, I'd really rather you didn't judge people for the way they look or how they dress or the way they talk or, just play nice, okay?
Yeah, when your God is a bowl of noodles or just a flying noodle monster, pretty hard to judge anyone else.
You don't really have any room to judge, but that's a good thing.
Huh.
Number 4, I'd really rather you didn't indulge in conduct that offends yourself or your willing, consenting partner of legal age and mental maturity.
Hell yeah.
Number 5, I'd really rather you didn't challenge the bigoted, misogynistic, hateful ideas of others on an empty stomach. Eat, then go after the bitches.
Yes! I thought it was just going to be like, don't challenge them, period.
No.
Like, no conflict. I was like,
he is dehumanizing women with a stripper factory. But maybe there's male strippers too, and it's equal. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. We'll just keep it going.
Number 6, I'd really rather you didn't build multi-million-dollar churches, temples, mosques, shrines to my noodly goodness when the money could be better spent by A, ending poverty, B, curing diseases, or C, living in peace, loving with passion, and lowering the cost of cable.
How are we supposed to cure poverty and end it when the billionaires have to have their money? And what about the trillionaires?
Well, maybe if they're buying a lot of pasta, it's
just
okay.
Take the money and move it over here. Like trillionaires, that doesn't even make sense.
Are there trillionaires?
Yeah, there are trillionaires, there are billionaires, millionaires.
Who has $1 trillion?
I don't know, but I know they exist.
Okay. I'll believe you. Number 7, I'd really rather you didn't go around telling people I talked to you. You're not that interesting. Get over yourself.
Oh, sassy.
Sassy boy. And number 8, I'd really rather you didn't do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you are into stuff that uses a lot of leather, lubricant, Las Vegas. If the other person is into it, however, pursuant to number 4, then have at it. Take pictures, and for the love of Mike, wear a condom. Honestly, it's a piece of rubber. If I didn't want it to feel good when you did it, I would have added spikes or something. So there you go.
Okay. I want to know what the 2 I'd rather you didn't were that got dropped off the side of Salsa Mountain.
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess you have to pray to the flying spaghetti monster to find out.
I think it's probably I'd rather you not eat spaghetti.
Probably.
Because if Olive Garden is involved in this whole thing,
there's mixed messaging because in their holidays, one of their holidays is March 5th, which is the birthday of Momofuku Ando, who's the inventor of instant ramen noodles. So they like him. So maybe you are supposed to eat spaghetti.
Yeah, you are, but you're not supposed to gloat about it.
Right.
You're not supposed to go too far.
No, you can eat it, but make sure you're eating it appropriately.
Make sure you remember who created you.
Make sure you just say grace to the spaghetti monster and then have at it.
Hell yeah, I'd rather have spaghetti and say grace to the spaghetti monster than eat a bland ass cracker and
grape juice.
Yeah, grape juice.
Yeah, me too. What is it? Why do they make church crackers taste so bad? Why not just put salt on them for God's sake? That's all you would have to do to make them better.
Because it's a manipulative, abusive relationship.
But why not make it taste good? I don't know.
Because it's not supposed to taste good because you are guilty by birth.
You would think the flesh of Christ would taste good. That's all I'm saying.
Now you're sounding like a cannibal.
You are cannibalizing when you eat the church crackers. It's true. Also, as for holidays, every Friday is a holy day. This all seems really silly, but it is a real religion. The Pastafarian website states, quote, "It's not a joke. Elements of our religion are sometimes described as satire, and there are many members who do not literally believe in our scripture, but this isn't unusual in religion. A lot of Christians don't believe the Bible is literally true. That doesn't mean they're not real Christians." And there are real followers of the religion. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world follow his noodly goodness. Most of them are in Central Europe, the United States, and Australia.
They just gained a new follower.
Me too. I'm so down. And it's recognized as a real religion by some governments. In 2015, a Pastafarian Minnesota minister won the right to officiate weddings, claiming that not allowing him to do so is discrimination against atheists. Pastafarians... I don't know why my throat is so fucked up right now. Hold on.
While you're doing that, the richest person in the world, Elon Musk, is worth $223 billion.
Damn it.
Ha.
I was off
Suck
by
it, Hayley.
so much. But there are corporations that have trillions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Apple's worth trillions.
Here you go.
They could literally give everyone like $2,000 a month.
But then we wouldn't have iPhones. And
Yeah,
then
we
what would we
would.
do?
We'd still have iPhones.
Okay.
Everything would be the same except for there'd be less poverty.
As long as we can keep iPhones. All right. Pastafarians have the right to wear their religious headwear in driver's license photos. And this is an upside down spaghetti colander as a hat. In 2014, the government of Poland allowed the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster to apply for official recognition as a religion. Military members may engrave FSM for Flying Spaghetti Monster on their dog tags. And, of course, Pastafarians are important activists in the fight to uphold the separation of church and state. Most notably, they are active and successful in keeping creationism out of schools. Also, in 2014, the Supreme Court upheld the legislature's right to begin their sessions with a prayer. Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote, anyone who wanted to say a prayer before Congress could give one. And the fact that nearly all of them are Christian doesn't reflect any bias toward minority faiths. Pastafarians who believe that religion has no place in the legislature have protested by taking the Supreme Court up on their decision and praying to the great flying spaghetti monster before local government meetings.
I want to see that so bad.
I'm sure there are videos online. I didn't watch any, but I'm positive they're out there. It's just like, it's the best way to protest because they're not being aggressive. They're not hurting anyone. Like, it's just all in like fun, and it really makes a statement.
Yeah,
you
it
listen.
does.
Pastafarians also regularly show up at protests and counter protests, and I have a photo of that on the next slide.
Let's see. What do we have here? Pastafarian heaven, it says. Beer volcano, stripper factory. We welcome all on his list. Warning, drunks, homosexual. Wait, is this?
So
Hell
they're
awaits you. Okay.
counter protesting the guy on the right.
Okay, whose sign says a
Mhm.
bunch of bad things.
Yeah,
Just
well-
hell awaits all the people who are drunks.
Well, not bad things. Drunks, homosexuals, abortionists, adulterers, liars, fornicators, thieves, atheists, witches, and idolaters. It says hell awaits you. And then the Pastafarians say that all those people can go to heaven in Pastafarianism.
Yes, I did not mean that those people were bad to me. It's the people who are traditionally looked down
Yes.
upon from Christians.
I like that their
Definitely.
website is Bulldog Ministries. It's so dumb.
Oh my God. Not Pastafarianists, the crazy people
Yeah.
with the bad sign. They offer religious exemption from exposure to unvaccinated people. So this is a satire of religious exemptions of the COVID-19 vaccine, but the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster says that exposure to, quote, harmful virus particles is, quote, forbidden to devious Pastafarians. So you can get a waiver that says you can't work around people who are unvaccinated.
Oh, that's funny. I
Mhm.
like that.
Me too. And you can get one of these exemption letters from the church's website.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
very easy.
And your workplace has to respect it.
It's a
So,
religion.
it's a religion.
Yeah, it's great. Their website is awesome. I recommend taking a trip there. Also on their website is a list of frequently asked questions and answers. To the question, quote, what is the Church of FSM's view on abortion and right to life issues? It says, quote, The Church of FSM's position is that life starts before conception, somewhere around the point of seeing boobs, and that sperm, as potential humans, if allowed to develop, deserves the same protection as fetuses and fully grown people. Anyone who harms sperms is guilty of murder, including pushers of hot water jacuzzis and tight-fitting underwears. We are all equal in the eyes of our Lord, our almighty flying spaghetti monster.
That got scary there for a second. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean,
but I was like,
satire.
I believe it'll be okay.
In their stance on religion, they say, quote, "We are not anti-religion. This is not an atheist club. Anyone and everyone is welcome to join our church, including members of other religions. In addition to atheists, agnostics, and free thinkers who have joined us, we have a number of Christian and Muslim and Hindu and Buddhist members, and I would love to have more. Note to the religious, you are welcome here." Overall, the church is about humor, acceptance, and the separation of church and state. But all these nice things do not keep them from getting hate mail, for which there's an entire tab on their website where you can read and discuss it.
Oh, yes. Air it out.
I know. They live for the drama.
Them.
And I was going to read a piece of hate mail, but like they're long. You guys can look it up.
Yeah, you can imagine easily what they're saying.
They get a lot of it, but you can like go and then there's like, you can comment on it and like people just clown on them. It's pretty fun. They also have a tab for propaganda materials. Their website says, quote, "Propaganda is a time-honored, socially acceptable method of sharing your religion around the world, and we Pastafarians are happy to be part of this tradition." So on this tab, and Alec, you can go to the next slide, you can print free flyers, brochures, posters, and other promotional material. And I have some of this here to show you. These are some posters that you can print out to spread the good word.
He boiled for your sins.
Have you been touched by his noodly appendage?
Yeah, do you want to describe some of these?
I mean, you guys just read them. There's another one that says, "It's alive, the flying spaghetti monster." You guys are so bad
at describing things.
And then there's like pictures of them on the flying spaghetti monster.
It's a noodle monster. There's meatballs. It's in the air. It has eyes coming up from it like a slug. And one of them, he's in a colander. That's what it says. He boiled for your sins.
And then is that Michelangelo's David? Is that what that painting's called?
It's the Sistine Chapel, where God is touching Adam, but instead of God, it's the spaghetti monster.
Yeah, I was way off. But yeah, there's a famous painting and they're touching tips of fingers. So
appendages.
The noodly appendages. Yes. There's another tab for sightings where you can see pictures of the flying spaghetti monster out in the wild. And that's on the next slide. So you can take a picture of basically anything that resembles spaghetti and post it on here as evidence that he is real.
I don't know if it's not toast with the outline of white Jesus, then I don't know if I can believe it.
There you go. But there's like some muscle tape. There's some kind of sea worms. There's a baby monitor, or like a thing that holds the cabinet shut. Yeah, that
some
looks
like trash in the ocean or something.
So anything that looks like the spaghetti monster is the spaghetti monster.
I think that proves it even further. He's
Definitely.
real.
I mean, how else do you explain this?
You don't.
Of course, there's also a Join Us tab. If you want to be a Pastafarian, all you have to do is consider yourself one. You don't have to jump through any hoops or pay any money. The best thing you can do to help the church is spread the word. And the website points out that a good way to do this is by pointing out it's the most peaceful mainstream religion and no wars have ever been started over it.
The best. It's the best. Like I said, I'm the newest Pastafarian, so.
Me too. And then like we said earlier, you can still be a Pastafarian if you don't believe in the flying spaghetti monster or the gospel. After all, many Christians don't take the Bible literally. The website claims this is no different. And they say, whatever you decide, remember this. Quote, FSM is a real, legitimate religion as much as any other. The fact that many see this as a satirical religion does not change the fact that by any standard one can come up with, our religion is as legitimate as any other. And that is the point.
Wow. And they just chose the perfect god or mascot, even, if you will, because who
Yeah.
doesn't like pasta?
Everyone
I
likes
know
pasta.
that that's not what it's about, but
It's like
a perk.
it's just absurd enough without like being too distracting, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh
It
my
is great.
God. How did you hear about this?
I feel like, I don't know, I've just heard it referenced, and I sometimes for night classy I Google like lists of things, and so I Googled like weirdest churches, and this was on the list, and so I just like, oh, that'd probably be a good topic.
So did this help them block creationism from schools?
They helped block it in Kansas, and then they helped again in Florida.
Yay.
Yeah.
Of course, Florida.
They're great. And the Church of Satan also does similar work as them and does it a lot more effectively and aggressively. So maybe there will be a lesson in the future on that.
Yeah, they're like allies.
They are allies. They have the same goals. So my sources are spaghettimonster.org, pastafarians.org.au, Flying Spaghetti Monster Wikipedia page, a Vox.com article called A Pastafarian Hilariously Trolled a Town Council Meeting, The Stakes Are Profoundly Serious by Ian Millhiser, and allthisinteresting.com article called Exploring Pastafarianism and the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster by Katie Serena, Kansas Evolution Hearings Wikipedia page, and the Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster Wikipedia page, and infotel.ca. That's my lesson.
Wow, great job. I hope you all had fun.
I had fun.
I did.
If you liked this, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media. Check out our Patreon. Check out List Bitches. We can't wait to see you there. We'll be doing another cocktail hour really soon. Coming right up.
April 1st.
April 1st. April
is not a
Fool's
joke.
Day, but not a joke, no. And as always, we love you. Thank you for listening. And 3, 2, 1, class dismissed.
I'm sorry, my ADHD has really kicked in hard this afternoon. So
It's fine.
class dismissed. Bye. That was fun.